Anyway, good evening, everyone. My name is Leo Broderick, and I'm a board member of the Council of Canadians, and have the honor of co-chairing this evening and our plenary sessions tomorrow with Letitia Adair, who is also a board member from St. John, New Brunswick. So, welcome, everybody.
Gracias. Bienvenido tout le monde. Bienvenidos a todos.
Thank you. Welcome to Prince Edward Island. And I know that on the occasion of our 21st annual general meeting, that is indeed a pleasure for the many council members from the province to be here at this meeting with many of you from across the country. We have a very interesting weekend worked out. There's no question that the question that we have posed to Canadians is simply this. We are looking for a better Canada, and tonight and tomorrow and Wednesday, and Sunday, our theme is Integrate This, charting a better course for Canada-US relations. We are going to explore many issues, but first, I think it's important for those of you who are coming into Prince Edward Island to recognize that here on Prince Edward Island, many people think that we have an absolutely gorgeous province. It's true. There's no question about its beauty. There's no question about the integrity of the people. But I will say that here in Prince Edward Island, there are many social and economic issues that organizations like the Council of Canadians and other groups across the country and here in this province have to address. I would say, for example, that our water in this province is threatened. We depend totally on groundwater, but there's no question that from most of the area in eastern Prince Edward Island, from an area near Morel to beyond Summerside, is threatened. We have very high levels of nitrates in our water, and we depend totally on groundwater in this province. So water, though it's an issue with the Council of Canadians right in this across the country, but it's also an issue here. I would also say that in this province, we have a far, far too many people who live in poverty. We have approximately 25% of our labor force who work on temporary jobs. I would say that 52% of our workforce are women, and their average wage is $15.14 an hour. For the most part, many live in poverty. I would say that also in Prince Edward Island, our social assistance system is in absolute disgrace, as is every province's social assistance system. Many, many people live in poverty. It's hidden, and we need to continue to address that very serious social problem. All that said, we're here to talk about the kinds of things that we can do to make this world a better world. Our first speaker is going to be Captain John Joe Sark, and he's going to welcome us to Mi'kmaq territory. He's going to say a few words, but I want to say also that John Joe Sark, Captain John Joe Sark, is an absolute wonderful, powerful First Nations leader in this province and across the country, and indeed internationally. I know John Joe personally. I consider him a very good friend, and in fact had the honor of going to his place and participating in a sweat lodge, and I also had the honor of receiving an eagle's feather from John Joe, and indeed privileged to have had that experience. John Joe is a graduate of the University of Prince Edward Island. He received a Bachelor of Political Studies, Political Science from the University of Prince Edward Island. In 1985, he was honored by the Grand Chief of the Mi'kmaq Nation, who nominated him as captain of the Mi'kmaq Nation. Following this, he was elected unanimously by the captains of the Mi'kmaq Nation with a lifetime nomination as the captain by the Mi'kmaq Grand Council. In his role as guardian of the spiritual and cultural integrity of the Mi'kmaq people, he has fought to have offensive stereotypes removed from schools and institutions in Prince Edward Island. He has lobbied internationally for rights and recognition. He has held audiences with many people, such as the Pope, on the issue of residential schools. He was involved in drafting the United Nations Declaration of Indigenous Peoples of the World, and was co-producer, executive director, and artistic director of the film Spirit World, A Story of the Mi'kmaqs. He also wrote a book on the history of the Mi'kmaq people, and he continues to use his expertise to encourage accurate portrayals of Mi'kmaq history. Mr. Stark was appointed as Mi'kmaq ambassador to the Vatican in 1994, the United Nations Human Rights Commission in Geneva in 1994, the Acadian National Society in New Orleans in 1999, and the Acadian National Society in France in 2002. He has encouraged traditional arts like basket making with the Mingu Arts and Craft Corporation, and promoted community programs to mine peat moss, harvest mussel, mud, and farm oysters. John Joe Sark lives outside Charlottetown, and last year he also received an extraordinary honor. He may even tell us a little bit about that. Certainly, John Joe fights racism, fights injustices, fights for people who are discriminated against. He has also with him tonight, and he invited the chief of the Lennox Island Band, Chief Darlene Bernard. She's right here, and I ask you to give her a warm welcome. Chief Darlene. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that later. But after that somewhat lengthy introduction, John Joe, would you please come welcome us to your territory and say a few words and conduct a little ceremony.
I'd like to open with a prayer, so we can all stand, please. O great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the wind, hear me